Hello, nerds! Thank you for watching Generally Nerdy. This is your Week in Nerdom Movies edition for the week of April 9th, 2018. This week in movies, we've got Venom updates. I know they've been done filming for a while, but we're still getting all kinds of news about it. Flashpoint update, Ready Player One, things and stuff are happening. Let's jump into the intro real quick.
Quiet on the set, rolling.
Hi, I am Bitsy Telek.
Hey, I'm Hale Appleman.
I'm Walter Kane.
I'm Rene Aubergenois. Odo on Deep Space Nine.
Michael Dorn, Lieutenant Commander Worf, Star Trek The Next Generation.
Come and see me and hear me and talk to me and listen to me talk about myself.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, often considered generally nerdy, and you are listening to what is often considered generally nerdy.
On Generally Nerdy.
You're listening to
Generally Nerdy.
Generally Nerdy.
Generally nerdy.
Before we get to the news, guys, there is a little bit of business to get out of the way. This week is the second week of April, which means this weekend is Dink Denver. Dink Denver is a comic book convention that deals with underground comic books. The smaller publishing houses, artists and writers from those smaller publishing houses, a lot of artists and writers who are self-published, tattoo art, all kinds of stuff. We will be attending Dink Denver in an official capacity, so potentially we are going to be getting some really great interviews. John Leguizamo, James O'Barr, other artists that are going to be at Dink Denver that I am shooting for. Those are probably the two biggest ones, though. Those are easily the two biggest ones, though. I'm also going to be doing a What's in My Camera Bag for Comic-Con. We're going to be doing Adventures in Photography video for it. We're going to be doing How-To Comic-Con. So much stuff is coming down the pike. Be ready. Also, this week we will see the second installment of Renaissance Nerd. We are doing the prep for the entree, so doing some slicing and dicing, trying not to cut our fingers off. That will be up by the end of the week. I think my goal for that is going to maintain right about Thursday, Friday. As we progress with that and I get that worked into my workflow a little bit better, I'll cement down what day they get posted every week. But that stuff is all coming down the pike, and we also have a sponsor for this week's episode. This week's movies episode is sponsored by our shirt over on punishshirt.com. This is the shirt that got me over 100 subscriptions, so definitely go check it out. You can find it at punishshirt.com. Those guys they have some really funny stuff, some really unique nerd shirts. Go check them out. Like I said, they helped me get over 100 subscriptions. So thank you to you guys over at Punish Shirt, and anyone else, go check out their shirts and go buy one for yourself, man. Even if it's not the General Lee nerdy shirt, then they have other stuff over there. That's No Moon, so on and so forth. It's a different play on the That's No Moon. Not something you've seen before necessarily. Not something I've seen before, that's for sure. But check them out. punishshirt.com is the sponsor for this week's episode. And now let's jump over to the news. Coming out the gate with the news this week, we've got Venom updates. Yes, that's right. They're doing some reshoots, but I don't know that this is necessarily tied to the reshoots. We just got an announcement through Bleeding Cool News, so maybe it's accurate, maybe it's rumor. The unfounded rumor. We don't know just yet. We probably won't know officially until the movie comes out. But Woody Harrelson is going to be Carnage. That's very strange, I'm not gonna lie. So they're really just totally disregarding all of the age correlations between Venom and Carnage and Peter and not that I'm bummed that Carnage is going to be in the movie. Carnage is easily the only reason, Carnage and to a slightly lesser extent Venom, are the only reasons I really care about Spider-Man. So that's awesome, but I feel like just the fact, and Woody Harrelson, again, is totally capable of doing it, but because of the age difference and because of other extenuating circumstances, like I feel like this is evidence that they're not going to be paying the proper tribute to the source material that they should be. I feel like Venom is going to be, at the very least, a decent movie. I'm not holding my breath for it to be a good movie, because we've seen what Sony Marvel can do, and it hasn't been very good until they got a little bit of help from Disney Marvel, so I don't know. But again, that could very well be baseless rumor, and someone's just trolling the internet. We won't know until the movie comes out, so let's kick over to the next bit of news, and this one is confirmed. This is Flashpoint. The Flashpoint movie is not going to be called Flashpoint. In a move possibly meant to curtail expectations, THR reporter who has connections to someone over at Warner Brothers, I believe. I really did the research on this. The guy's name is Boris Kitt, and I can't remember what the connection is, but there is a connection. So this has been confirmed that they are not going to be calling the movie Flashpoint. It is still going to be based on the Flashpoint storyline, but it's going to be loosely based on the Flashpoint storyline. So I feel like the name change is specifically so that people don't go, well, that's not how it went in the book. It's because it's not based on the book per se. So I feel like this is actually probably a good move on Warner Brothers' part. Not gonna lie, anything you can do to lower expectations at this point, and that way you can underpromise and overproduce, go for it, guys. But that's all we've got for Flashpoint. Next, we're moving into Ready Player One news, kind of. This is actually Ernest Cline news. He wrote another book shortly after Ready Player One, and it is called Armada. And if you have not read the book, I haven't read the book, but I'm vaguely familiar with it. Basically, the synopsis makes it sound like it's equal parts Ender's Game and that Adam Sandler movie Pixels. Like, it kind of sounds like some sort of amalgamation between the two. Though, to be fair, it did come out before Pixels, so you can't say that he, got the idea from them. I'm sure it was more the other way around. But it very, very much sounds influenced by Ender's Game, though to what extent, I won't know until I read the book. And now that they're going to make this into a movie, that's right, that's the news bit, they are making Armada into a movie just based on the immediate success of Ready Player One, though I feel like a fair portion of the success of Ready Player One is because of who directed it and not necessarily because of the quality. So, let's do a real quick, because I didn't do a review of Ready Player One just because I didn't do a review of Ready Player One. I didn't go in prepared, and I apologize for any of you who missed it. But I will be doing a review of The Avengers, so stay tuned for that at the end of the month. Anyway, Ready Player One was good. And that's about as much positive as you can say about it. You can't really say a whole lot that's negative about it, aside from the fact that the pacing seemed really off. And if you're a hardcore loyalist to the book, then there's a lot wrong with this movie, because Spielberg took some pretty heavy liberties with this storyline. The basic elements are still there, like everything basically still happens in the proper order, aside from Wade meeting, what's her face? I can't remember. But aside from that one element, everything else basically happens in order. And again, they meet Og way after they do in the book, and so there's a couple of things that kind of got jumbled around, but they're not super important to the plot necessarily. And they switch that it's not Wade that goes to work for IOI. It was, again, what's her toes. So still though, like, the spirit of the book exists in that movie. So it's fun. Let's do that. It's a fun movie. Just like the book. Like, there is nothing challenging about the book aside from the pacing of the first third or so. because that pacing is slow, but it's intentionally slow. The pacing of the movie went super rapid through some pretty key elements that I felt like really helped us care about the universe we were in. Whereas when you go through it super fast like they did in the movie, you don't care as much. And that might be why it's just a fun movie and it's not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination. So real quick, just kind of off the cuff review. I can justify going to see Ready Player One in theaters. I potentially, based on that, will see Armada as well in theaters, though it's not likely that they're going to get Spielberg for a second book adaptation, especially from the same author. So yeah, maybe wait for Armada to come out. But again, it's not out, so we can't really rush to judgment. We haven't really seen anything. It hasn't even officially got script to be greenlit yet, so there's a lot of steps between here and there. So that's the end of Armada. We're going to kick over to The Man Who Killed Don Quixote. Now, this is a different kind of nerdy movie. This movie, actually, Terry Gilliam has been trying to make it for about 19 years, and it finally is being made. Adam Driver is in it. You can check in the description. There is a link to this, the trailer for it. Terry Gilliam, for any of you who don't know, is the guy who did The Adventures of Baron von Munchausen and also Time Bandits, and has done some he's a very interesting filmmaker, very, very obvious style that you see basically immediately when you start watching his movies. Baron von Munchausen was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. Like, anytime it was on, I definitely was watching it. So, super interested. I don't know a whole lot about the movie aside from what we get in the trailer. Looks like a quasi-adaptation of Don Quixote. And just crazy Terry Gilliam stuff in the trailer. And so it looks like it's kind of a Baron von Munchausen style thing in that there's a lot of storytelling involved, and if you it's confusing. It looks like it's gonna be fun. It's Terry Gilliam, so we know it's gonna be fun, so we're gonna talk about it as soon as it comes out. But check out that trailer because it's great fun. And we're moving into the last bit of movie news this week, and it has to do with Toy Story 4. They finally announced the release date. It is set to release on premiere on June 21st of 2019. Josh Cooley will be the director. Tom Hanks and Tim Allen tentatively are going to return to reprise their roles as Woody and Buzz, and that's all we know. Aside from all of the horrible things that have, all of the goofy things that have been happening behind the scenes at Pixar, the only bits that are set in stone are Tim Allen, kind of, Tom Hanks, kind of, Josh Cooley, and the release date of June 21st. Are they going to start a new trilogy? That's the part that I'm wrestling with. And I'm going to hand that one off to you guys. Are they going to start a new trilogy? And B, should they start a new trilogy? Those are the two questions that we need to ask about Toy Story. Is it good as a three-piece, or do we need to go further? Let's talk about that in the comments section. And that, guys, is the last bit of movie news this week. What did I miss? What should we talk about next week? Definitely let me know in the comments down below. If, though, you want to go deeper into the conversation, jump over to the website. GenerallyNerdy.net is the place that you can do that. You can also find all of the links to all of the social media. All of the free stuff is up on the website. That is the main hub that gets you everywhere associated with Generally Nerdy. You can also find the store links, so you can go get your very own Generally Nerdy swag. That is GenerallyNerdy.net. If you want to support the channel a little more directly, then jump over to patreon.com/generallynerdy. That is the place that you can go do that. It's a monthly basis. You can jump on for just $1 a month. It is that way you get all of these videos early, and with con season coming upon us, all of these interviews that are coming down the line, even potentially a Mushroom Head interview here very soon, all of that stuff is available to patrons for a longer period of time exclusively than these daily videos. The daily videos are only available exclusively to patrons for a day. So check out patreon.com/generallynerdy so you can see all of that content, and there is some exclusive content for patrons as well that you can only get by checking out patreon.com/generallynerdy. If you are new to the channel, guys, please click that subscribe button. If you like this episode, click that like button. If you are falling behind on your nerd news and you want to catch up, then click or tap that box right there to the left of my face to do that. That box right above it is the Adventures in Photography box. Check that out so you know what you're adding suggestions for the 2 episodes that we will be filming this month. But before you go do any of that, guys, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.